So here we have a tileable texture that we made completely in ComfyUI locally. And when we try to tile it, we can see it's beautiful. There's no seams, no nothing. And the method that we are using this, we're using it on these small models. It'll work on any model. Here's another model that we use to generate the same prompt. And we can see no seams whatsoever. However, when we come over to ChatGPT, I gave it the same prompt. Only difference is I did now specify I wanted it to be tileable. And we try to go to the next one. We can see a seam right along here that goes all the way across the camera. So why is it that ChatGPT can't handle generating a tileable image, a truly tileable images? I mean, it's pretty good, but it is definitely breaking up here on the top and bottom. But the other models didn't. So we can do it with a local model very easily, but we can't do it with a massive model. And the reason is that we're manipulating the math that is generating these images. And that's why we don't need to specify that we want them tileable. We're making them be tileable with the math. And it's going to be fun. We're going to use a couple custom nodes. So let's hop right into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out our workflow so that we can go over every single node and know what each of them is doing in our new workflow. And the first thing I'm going to want to add is a loader, specifically load checkpoint. So that would be in loaders, load checkpoint. We can use pretty much any checkpoint, any model we want. I'm going to use a cyber realistic SDXL model just because it's a very nice model for what it is, a low weight model. And if you want to go even more low weight, even SD will work fine. It's going to be handled in these nodes. So then we're going to need to do some conditioning. So what do we want to generate? We need to tell it that. So we're going to need these clip text encoders, and we're actually going to need two of these because we're going to need one for positive and one for negative, and then we connect them to the clip. And clip is basically going to convert the text here into a numerical type of output that the model will actually be able to understand when it goes into our K-sampler. So for our K-sampler, we come over to sampling, K-sampler. You can use K-sampler or K-sampler advanced. I'm just going to go with K-sampler. In a future video, I'll go over what each of these mean. But the most important part is steps is going to control how long it takes to generate. So you can put more levels here. That'll work fine. CFG is how tightly you attach to this text encode. For cyber realistic, these base settings tend to work pretty well. Only thing is sometimes you might want to go to DPMPP 2M because this one works pretty well for this model, but even the standard Euler model will work. I'm sorry, Euler sampler. And then we have this one attached to our positive, this one attached to our negative. I like to add color, so we can add this one to be green, and again we'll come here and then click on this little circle, and let's make this one red so it's very easy to see. And if we want to go even a little deeper, we can come over here to our I'm sorry, I actually need to right click it and then go to our properties panel, and then we can change this to prompt, and we can just close all of this and actually just make it prompt positive. And that'll change the name, and here I'm going to change it to prompt negative. So that's a nice little way to make it a little clearer what each node is in your workflow. And then we're going to need to attach the model to the model here. And normally we could do this directly, but for this particular workflow, since we are trying to make seamless textures, we need to modify that a little bit. So we're going to need to add a seamless tiling node. So we're going to come over here to conditioning and click seamless tile, and then we're going to pass the model through this seamless tile, and that'll convert it so that when we're generating, it'll actually be seamless on the ends. And then there's still one piece missing on the K-sampler, which is a latent image. And we don't really need to have an image going into here, so we can just start out with a base empty latent. So we're going to come to latent, and then go to empty latent image, And then here, it starts to 512 by 512. That's the standard for stable diffusion. We're using SDXL though, so I'm going to change that to 124. And again here, I'm sorry, not 124, 1024. And then that'll give us an empty 1024 by 1024 image in latent. So we're not actually putting an empty image here. It is in latent space. And I'll probably have to do a video on that too. But it's pretty straightforward. Just connect the line here to latent image. And then now from our case sampler, we're going to generate another latent. And from there, we're going to need to convert it. And normally, we would just use latent decode, and then we're going to use VAE decode. But that won't work for this because we are modifying it to be seamless. We actually need to use a circular VAE decode for this one. So we're going to come right here, and then we're going to connect the latent to the samples, and then we are going to connect the VAE from our checkpoint all the way over here to the VAE from our circular VAE decode tile. And then we can get our image, and this is no longer going to be a latent, this is an actual image that we can see. So we want to view it, so we're going to come over to image, and you can do either save image or preview image. Preview image is going to create a temporary file. Save image is actually going to automatically save it to the outputs folder in your ComfyUI directory. And I like to use preview image because we can still save the image if we want it, but if we don't like it or if we generate it wrong, we don't need to have it clogging up those folders. But if you're generating images, it's up to you. And then the other thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that the image is offset properly so that if we tile it, it will actually look right. The best way to understand this image offset node is to see it graphed out. So basically it's just going to divide your image into 4 chunks like we see in front of us right here, and then it's going to move these chunks around. And it's going to do this in a specific way so that like A, you see the outside is on this side, and now it's going to be here in the center of the image. C, the outside's here, center, same with B, outside, center. So along these lines where I put the black lines, you're going to be able to see a seam if there is one when you're using this image offset node. So it's a really good node even if you just want to pull in an image and check if it has seams in ComfyUI. So here, this will cut the image in 50-50, and then we can output it to a preview image. So now all we need to do is put the prompt that we want, and I'm just going to put something like wood texture, and then we can generate. And you notice I'm not actually putting a negative prompt. Common best practice, it doesn't work for all models. Some models, they do want a set negative prompt, but sometimes you can just leave the negative prompt empty and then generate as you find things you don't want. But it's good to start with it empty generally. So now we can run our model. The only thing that I will do before running it is I'm going to switch this in seamless tiles from make a copy to modify in place, and then I'm going to click run. And the reason why I did that is sometimes make a copy causes some issues, in particular when you're working with a little bit less RAM, and I'm also recording at this time. If you have a bigger system, make a copy should work fine, but we'll be using modify in place. And if you get an issue, specifically if you get this error right here, seamless tile num type object is not callable. That has to do with an issue from copying inside of seamless tile instead of modifying in place. Then I recommend switching to modify in place. So now our texture has been generated. So I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so that we can see a pretty good wood texture. It looks like wood. And if we come over to the space where we have done the offset and zoom that in a little bit as well, we can see there's no lines. So we would be seeing lines here in the middle or here in the middle, and there's no seams, which means if we want to wrap this on a sphere, on a wall, on any sort of 3D object, this texture will perfectly wrap. So there we go, and that's about it. And if we wanted to change the look of this, we can totally modify either using a different checkpoint, we can stick low-res in it, and I'll be showing you guys low-res in the next video, so hope that's helpful for you guys, and as always, have a wonderful day.